Good morning. So we will be continuing from yesterday's Murli. Yesterday we were reading 25th March 1981's Murli. The title of the Murli was "The Basis of Greatness is Checking Our Thoughts, Words and Deeds." And yesterday Baba took us through what he thinks of Madhuban Nivasis and why they are double powerful, or if they have double support. One is the canopy of the physical canopy of Baba's, Baba's Madhuban. There's a wall around Madhuban, that's a physical canopy. And the second is the canopy of Father's Srimad, right? Because it's easier to follow Srimad when you're in Madhuban. Then Baba also went on to say that you all should check your thoughts, your words, and your deeds, and also the relationships or connections that you come in contact with. And especially to become powerful, it's very important to see whether our words, actions, deeds, thoughts, and relationships are as equal to the Father. And then he said, we must check whether these things match the Father's actions and then put them into practice. So before doing anything, the thought generates, there's a checking and alignment with Father's thought, and only then I take that forward or bring it into practice or do a deed or say a word or come into a relationship. So that checking needs to happen on an auto mode is what Baba is saying. And he says this should constantly keep happening within your intellect. Then Baba went on to talk about you need to become doubly sensible. So when we say doubly sensible, one is being sensible, having the knowledge, and second, being able to check before doing anything rather than regretting it later. So be doubly sensible is what Baba said in yesterday's morning. So we will move on from there. Baba carries on. Today, Bap Dada is conducting the coronation ceremony of the crown of virtues for the residents of Madhuban, especially, and for everyone else in general. Let anyone who looks at all of you see you wearing crowns. So this is the self-affirmation, the swaman that Baba has given us for today, that whatever I do today or wherever I go, everybody should look at me as wearing crown, and the crown of virtues. So I need to remind myself that since I'm wearing a crown of virtues, everybody knows and sees me as wearing a crown of virtues. Everything that I do or comes out of my mouth has to be virtuous. Baba says, let each of you virtuous jewels sparkle and make others sparkle. Baba also conducted a drill, and he says, all of you are stable in the stage of being absorbed in love, are you not? Simply belong to the one Father and none other. You can experience so much supersensuous joy in this. You like the elevated stage of being full of all virtues, do you not? Even if you spent day and night in that stage, you would still constantly want to remain in that stage. Constantly maintain this awareness and remain a powerful soul. The awareness that I simply belong to one Father and none other, and He belongs to me and none other. Constantly maintain this awareness. Baba says, Bap Dada constantly celebrates meeting you children and will continue to do so. There are many children, but because of being beyond any bodily bondage, both Bap and Dada can meet each child and give that feeling to each one within a second. Do we get that feeling that I have a personal meeting with Bap Dada whenever I want? Baba says we can get that feeling within a second. Okay. After this, Baba went on to meet the Dadis. It's like Baba's having a chit chat in the family. He's first meeting the Madhuban Nivasis and he's talking to the Dadis. Baba says, has the royal family been created or is it still being created? Have those who are going to run the activities of the kingdom emerged yet, or are they still about to emerge? So all the souls who are going to be part of the royal family. Baba says one is the king and the queen, and second is those who are going to be close to the royal family, part of the royal family, who are actually going to run these activities. The close souls. Baba says, have they emerged or they're still emerging or yet to emerge? Baba says, one grade is of those who are going to rule the kingdom, and the other grade is of those who are going to carry out the running of the kingdom. Those who are seated on the throne will rule the kingdom, and those who come into contact with you will be carrying out the activities involved in running the kingdom. Baba has said this in many other Murlis also, that the closer you are in the confluence age as a Brahmin family, the same closeness you'll maintain in the golden age, in the beginning of the golden age. So it doesn't mean if we were not able to meet dadis, so we cannot be close. It's the closeness that we feel from the heart. There are many souls that, when I come across, they say that we feel a special closeness to Badi Dadi, Prakashmani Dadi, or we feel a special closeness to Gulzar Dadi, even though they haven't ever met her. So like Bap Dada, we all have a quality to come close even without being physically close. This is called spiritual closeness through the soul, right? And following the path that Dadis would have followed or Baba follows. As Baba said, be in all actions or all thoughts, be equal to me, is what Baba's expectation is. That is what is closeness. Right? Closeness just doesn't mean being physically close, because that's not an option now. So Baba says, therefore, those who are going to carry out the activities involved in running of the kingdom are also being created now. What would the speciality of those who run the kingdom be? Not everyone will be seated on the throne, because there has to be a limit of those who can be seated on the throne. But there will be the relatives of those who are seated on the throne, there will be a difference between those who are part of the royal family and those who are seated on the throne. There will be a slight difference. While they would be very close to the ones who are seated on the throne, but they will still be part of the royal family and not the king and the queen. Baba says, although they will all be called the number one or number two of the royal family of the world emperor, what would be the difference? There have to be some rules as to who can be seated on the throne. Think about this. Let's churn about this and share the churnings later on who or what would be the rules of who is going to be seated on the throne, who is going to come in the royal family, and who's going to come in the larger, larger population, not part of the royal family, but maybe a higher status in the larger population, lower status in the larger population. So let's think and churn later on. Baba says, at the confluence age, the Father gives everyone the right to be seated on the heart throne. They will be the future emperors and kings, but who will claim a right to the throne of the Lakshmi Narayan the first? See, the first Lakshmi Narayan that has already been disclosed by Baba, that will be Brahma Baba and Mama, both of their souls. But what about the second, Lakshmi Narayan the second, Lakshmi Narayan the third? Baba says, do you know who will claim that right? There will be smaller thrones and the royal court. There are courtiers also, right? While there would be no lawyers, doctors, policemen, but there would be courtiers and they would discuss together and take any decisions, right? The inner circle, what they call. So there will be smaller thrones and the royal court. But the special basis of having the throne in every aspect and in every subject. So this is one of the rules of becoming or having access to the throne. Baba says the special basis of having the throne of the world, emperor, is to be one who completely follows the Father in every aspect and every subject. It's not an easy task. In every aspect, every subject, constantly. Baba says, if you fail in following the Father, even in one subject, you cannot claim the right to the first throne. You will claim the status of changing from ordinary human into Lakshmi or Narayan. But in order to claim the first number, crown, and throne, you have to follow both Bap and Dada in everything. Only then will you receive the throne as a follower. Follow the Father in every matter, every sanskar, and every thought. Every matter, every sanskar, and every thought. That's the key to getting the access to the throne of Lakshmi Narayan. Baba says numbers will be allocated on the basis of this. You will receive the same throne, but it will be number-wise. There will be a difference between Lakshmi and Narayan the second and Lakshmi and Narayan the eighth because of the difference in their following the Father. There are very minute things, and Baba will talk about that further in the Murli. how that number is decided. Everybody is following the Father. Then how the number is decided and how somebody comes before and some other comes after. Baba says, it is also significant as to whether you become an emperor or an empress. Okay, how do we decide that? But will I, suppose I'm supposed to take the throne, will I be an emperor or an empress? There's a difference in that as well. Bapdada also continues to look at the kingdom and sees who is to claim a right to which kingdom, the basis of which lines you come in. This is also a secret. So basis of which lines you come in this is also a secret. Who will claim a right to the kingdom and which kingdom? I think in yesterday's Murli or this Avyak Murli of Sunday, Baba says that Lakshmi and Narayan also are not going to, or Krishna and Radhe, they are not going to be from the same clan. No, Radhe is the princess of another kingdom, and Krishna is the prince of another kingdom. So there will be two kingdoms which will come together when Krishna and Radhe get married. So how do we decide who's going to be coming in which clan? Who's going to be the emperor? Who's going to be the empress? Baba says, to follow the Father is a very deep philosophy. To follow the Father from birth, to follow the Father in your childhood life, to follow the Father in your youth, to follow the Father in a life of service, and to follow the Father in your final period. See, each of these are following the Father. But someone who's followed the Father from birth, since the time he or she became Baba's child, will be different from someone who follows the Father in their final period. Because the sacrifice of the one who followed him from the birth is much more than the one who followed in the final period or at some other later time, maybe in the youth or maybe in the childhood life. That also makes a difference. When did you start following the Father? And what was the reason to start following the Father? Was it the knowledge that I got? What was it, an event? Was I waiting for something in my Brahmin life to start following the Father in all terms? Was there a realization that comes later that allows me to follow the path of the Father? These are all very, very minute, subtle, deep things that make an impact in our numbers. Baba says, in terms of companionship and cooperation at the time of the establishment, how much have you been following the Father, or to what percentage have you been following him? Since Baba is talking to the Dadis, he says, since the time of inception, Dadis all were there at the time of inception. So he's saying, how much have you followed the Father and what percentage? Maybe all of us cannot follow Father from the beginning, but there is a percentage. Right? So there's a percentage in how much we can follow the Father, and then there's a percentage of how long we followed the Father. How much did you follow the Father in the task of sustenance? So one is following the Father in the task of establishment, then is following the Father in the task of sustenance. Then how much did you follow the Father in being a destroyer of obstacles for yourself and others? How much did I follow the Father? By being powerful enough to destroy all the obstacles for me and others. Baba says, your total marks are based on the combined marks of all these things. Your final number is based on your total marks. See, that's why Baba says every second of confluence age is very, very, very important. We cannot afford to lose even a single second. You know, in Hindi, they say that Savdhani Hati and Durghatna Ghati, which means if you just become careless even for a single second, it can lead to a disaster. And this is, Baba says, it's a race. And I'm running against time, I'm running against myself, not anybody else but myself. How fast can I go? How high can I leap? How much I can be in the flying stage is what the question is. Baba says, all of you can take a jump. You are the handful out of the multi-millions who can show such a wonder. So ask yourselves, who belongs to that handful out of the multi-millions? Actually, we all are a handful of multi-millions. If you compare with the number of souls in the world, the ones who get to know Baba and then eventually follow the path are very, very less, very minute in number. So actually, we are all a handful of the multi-millions, but even within those, there are a handful who are able to follow Father completely. So Baba says, ask yourselves, who belongs to that handful out of the multi-millions? You mustn't think that you cannot do this because you have come late. You can do it. You may have to take a big jump, but take it anyway, and Bap Dada will give you the extra help. See, it's not just the dadis. Anyone who wants to take the number can take it. We strategize so many things in the world, right? We strategize how we work, we strategize how we operate. We also need to strategize how we do our efforts. Because if we take the big jump, Baba says he'll give the extra help. He's kept saying this in many of the movies. You take the leap and I will help you. You keep the courage and I will support you. I think it's a leap of faith on ourselves and on Baba. Then Baba goes on to meet someone personally. Baba says, just as the Father knows the greatness of all you children, do you also know it? Do you experience this intoxication, or do you feel that you sometimes have the intoxication, but not at other times? Do you watch the situations or the Father? What do you look at? The larger the gathering, the greater the situations that will come in front of you. There will be certain situations in gatherings. Are you able to remember the Father at the time of going through such a situation? You mustn't think that you will be able to remember the Father when that situation is over. The beauty is to be able to remember the Father in that situation. When we are going through and we are in the middle of that situation, how much can I remember Baba? Anyone can remember Baba after the situation is over. What matters is how much can I remember him, use him, be combined with him when that situation is going on. Baba says, to have remembrance of the Father is the way to finish the situation. Only when you make progress can the situation end. Do not think that you will make progress when the situation ends. We cannot keep waiting. It will never end. It is when you make progress that such situations will be left behind. It is not the road that moves forward, but the one walking along the road who moves forward. So Baba is saying, when you're waiting for the situation to get over, it's like you're waiting for the road to move forward and you want to stand there and wait for the road to move. Baba says, does the road ever move forward? Does someone walking along a road think that he will move forward when the road moves forward? The road remains stationary. It, it is the one walking along who moves forward. The sight scenes will not move away, but those who are watching the sight scenes will move forward. So do you have this power? The power to move forward and leave situations behind. The power to remember the Father in the middle of the situation and not waiting for the situation to get over. Do you constantly remember the lesson of belonging to the one Father and none other in your thoughts, words, and deeds? Okay, perhaps you don't belong to anyone else, and this is another subject. But are there still physical comforts that you desire? So Baba is saying, okay, what does it mean to only belong to the one Father? Means there are no attachments. No attachments to any other soul, no attachments to the physical comforts, no desire. That is what Baba means when he says, belong to only one Father. Baba says, are there still obstacles? Are there any waste thoughts? Whilst in remembrance of the one Father, if you have any waste thoughts, it means there's something other than the Father. We've kept aside something, not let go everything. We've not let go, but we've kept aside. So the Father is also there, and those things also are there in the back of my mind or intellect. Let there be neither be any waste thoughts nor any wasteful in your words. Whilst in connection with the souls and fulfilling your responsibility towards souls, let there be only Baba in your awareness. Underline. Let there be no expansion of thoughts of others or of physical comforts. Now, if this happens, what will happen? If that happens, how will I go forward? What if I have to leave my job? What will I do? Is it like that today? Baba says it's not like you don't need to think, but don't overthink. Just prepare for what is needed. Don't extend the thoughts. Baba says today it's your body, tomorrow it's your mind, the day after it's some other possession. Your time is not wasted in this, is it? When you forget the other person, you remember a possession. And when you forget that possession, you remember the other person. There will always be this line because Maya knows that if you give her even a little chance to enter you, she is able to adopt many different forms to come. The definition of Maya is that it can change forms. It can make itself seem very attractive. That is what happened to Sita, right? It came in the form of that golden deer and she got attracted to it. And that is where the downfall started. It was an innocent mistake, but it was a mistake. Baba says, she will not come in just one form. She will come from here, she will come from there, from that corner, from the roof, where you are not expecting her. she will come from them. Baba says she has many different ways of coming in many different forms. However, those who recognize Maya on the basis of having made the lesson of belonging to one father firm will make Maya salute them from a distance. Those who have recognized, who are able to recognize Maya on the basis of having made the lesson of belonging to one father firm. No attractions to any soul, no attractions to any other physical comforts, no waste thoughts, no wasteful words. You have received all the knowledge, so wherever you are, let there be the atmosphere of belonging to one Father and none other. You've received so many points. Therefore, whilst keeping all these points become the form of a point. This is the wonder of the time when various things try to pull you down. Everything will come together. Sometimes a situation will pull you down. Sometimes a person will become an instrument to pull you down. Sometimes the atmosphere and sometimes an object. This will continue to happen all the time. It is impossible for this never to happen, but you do have to remain stable. Invent something for this. Invent a method so that everyone sings praise of how good the method you have created. Such beautiful words. Baba says, Acha. So we'll give 1 minute. We'll stay in silence, revisit the Murli points, and then come back and share our journeys. Okay. Anyone wants to go first on their thoughts on churning on the Murli?
Shivani Behan, you have really stirred a hornet's nest, I think, when you spoke about these three things. Who will be the world emperor? Who will be the royal family of the world emperor? And then who will do the work of carrying out the instructions of these world emperors? You know, these questions have always, Baba somehow dodges in each murli. Like sometimes he says you need total purity, sometimes he will say they are completely full and satisfied. So many signs he gives. As you rightly said, of course, even the first royal emperor and empress, and as even in yesterday's mudde, as you said correctly, they are both from different kingdoms. Radha is from a different kingdom, Krishna is from a different kingdom, but then when they come together, yes, Lakshmi Narayan. But my question was always, and I've really asked some of the seniors, fine, I agree with your emperor number one and emperor number two. Now this emperor number one and emperor number two, what he would be in the third and fourth, would he again be a repeat emperor, or would he just be the one, a part of the royal family? You know, these kind of thing. That's why I said, you know, it was a big nest which you really made us churn. Now I think you will give us some kind of thing for it, because it's a question. Even though I don't think it's going to affect us at all as far as the thing is concerned. It's just a knowledge. But these three questions, when Baba was asking, I agreed with what Baba said for the first emperor number one, and that too, who's go? Radhe even was is clear, Mama and Baba, as you said. And who's number two? Who's number three? And that means the people who are number one will their pradhan stage go down? Because Baba says there's a lot of difference between number 8 and number 1. That also is mentioned in the book. I think you should really give put in, or the family we should get a lot of these inputs for this. It's a hornet's nest which we have just touched, I think. Om Shanti.
Correct. It's absolutely, you are absolutely right. It's a hornet's nest. But when you spoke to seniors, you would have got some insights from seniors also. Would you like to share some of the inputs that you received?
Yeah, I can tell you one which one thing, I don't know how far, because I was very close to Dadiji, Dadi Prakashman. And she always used to say, she would love, like, she would always like to be first born in the womb of the first Lakshmi Narayan. She never even thought like she would be a part, she would like to be born as a child of Lakshmi Narayan. Now, I don't know in the child what would be her status in the second. But I've heard about only that was the thing. Then the other things they said you should read, like even in 92, I think there are some Murlis where Baba speaks about the spiritual royalty, spiritual thing. But no, no secret about second and third has been given. But my question was never answered. Especially I had asked this to Surya Bhai. What happens to Brahma Baba after he becomes emperor number 1? So do you mean to say he will be only part of the royal clan later? He would not be any emperor? He said no, only once he's the emperor. That one,
Yes.
yes, said. Only once number 1 emperor he will be. He cannot be emperor number 2 or emperor number 3. No, because उनका जो बोलते हैं ना क्या, the grades go less and Brahma Babas cannot go less, but he will be a very high part of a royal clan later.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand. If you ask me, for me to understand, that was too much. But when you said this, that one thing about Dadi Prakashmani, which he said, that she would like to be born in the womb of the emperor. Similarly, I'm a little bit closer to Nirvair Bhai. He says he always feels, he was Brahma Baba's child. He always gets that feeling that like as if he is in the womb of. So that means I don't know whether will Brahma Baba become a Radha in one thing or what, I don't know. So these two people, when I just went behind them, Surya Bhai gave me only a thing, but this is what I heard. But still, if you tell me, it's mind-boggling. I think it's an advanced course. And
Mm-hmm.
then later I said it doesn't make much a difference for me whether it's number 1 or number 2. But it's a beautiful thing to know that history. Like when you learn the Duke 1, Duke 2, Duke 3, it becomes history later. And
Mm-hmm.
then will we understand that history even, I think? Because by the time
We will,
the
by the
get
end, we will.
where
These
now,
are layers of the onion that we keep peeling, right? And I
no,
think
but
our own
Satya goes
churnings
off.
and touchings circle goes
No,
off.
yeah,
But
then where will
then
we all that?
Baba has said that in the end, everybody's stage, everybody's number, everybody's next birth, what they'll take will get released.
But
That's the only
honestly,
way we'll get to
but
know.
honestly, I'm not really even. I love to know this only
It's
about my
about
Brahma and my
knowledge.
Mama.
Yeah.
He'll be only number 1. Brahma is only number 1.
Yeah, that's true. And what
He
Surya
cannot.
Bhai said also is true, sister,
Yeah,
because Baba in some of the Murlis has mentioned that once you become an emperor and an empress, you don't become an emperor empress again for
again.
the
Yeah,
next
that is.
21 births. So it's
Yeah,
it's mentioned in the Murli, but you are closer to the royal family. So maybe you come back in some form and shape, but don't take the throne again
yeah,
because everybody needs to get a chance because
yeah. Only
there are so
once.
many effort makers, so only once that has been clarified in a couple of movies, but
Yeah.
who and how is that has never been clarified.
Mm.
In fact, once Dadi Gulzar had gone in the subtle region, there is a she shared her experience that Baba showed her who were the 8 Ashtratan, right?
Yeah,
He showed
I
her the
remember. And there
faces.
was an unseen face, it seems, in that.
Yes,
Unseen face.
unseen. Yeah, she
So
said,
I
I
was,
don't recognize this person. Baba said,
yeah.
I have never mentioned that only people whom you recognize will be the eight, you know. So he said, those whom you think will be there will not be there, and those whom you cannot even think will be there will eventually be there. And that one position is for the last so fast.
Hmm.
So it's a secret really that Baba uses that word na gur jane ya gur ki gotri. It's only either Baba or Brahma Baba who can get to know this. But we do get these touchings when we are close, when we have a very high stage. There are certain touchings that come where you realize that this is what Baba is trying to tell me. That's the
Oh,
only way. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om
There
Shanti.
is
Baba.
churning going on the history and all that. What's my personal way of seeing the things and seeing the history is to learn from the history, understand it, and get the knowledge and put it in the practical life. Similarly, here in Baba's knowledge, Baba has said that, okay, children are number one, all cannot be same, because their past is not same, so present cannot be same. And if present is not same, present is not same, future cannot be same. So here when Baba talks about number one, number two, number three, what I personally feel that specifically me, don't worry for that number wars and all that. But what I try to do is to become my best person. That is what we can do. Whatever are the available inputs, we must see that those who became number one, what are the pursat which they did, what the way they followed, what are the inputs which they took it from Baba's knowledge. Because when we see Brahma Baba now, we never feel that we have not met Brahma Baba. We always feel that we have met Brahma Baba again and again, and we feel that we meet him every day. Sometimes in
Yes.
some time frame, we find it that he is with me, combined. So what I feel when I see Brahma Baba, I try to see that what type of person he was, what pursarth he did, what was he, a businessman, and what he became. So how the transformation took place, what were the pursarth? I try to see that, yes, I also must do it in my own way. Okay, what happens? Brahma Baba did Purusharth. That was his personalized way of doing Purusharth. I will do the same Purusharth in my own way because what that is convenient for me in this present circumstances. But I will. The essence is that I have to become like Brahma Baba. So there are many footsteps of Brahma Baba. We should follow footsteps of Brahma Baba. And basically my way of looking the things, when we see Brahma, the word, B itself says that you have to be Wafadar. B itself says that you have to be Balihar to Baba. R says that you have to be responsible. R says that you have to be Ruhani. Brahma, B-R-A. A says you have to add on with divine virtues. H, honest. M, मैंपन को खत्म कर देना है मन मना भव मध्या जीवी भव. And again A, we become abode. And what happens in this process, if we do Purusharth like that, we may not be Brahma Baba, but we can definitely be Master Brahma. And what that is required, that has been said in the Murli also, that my dear children, you have to become like Baba, but you cannot become Baba. You can be Bap Saman, that is Master Sarshaktiman and Master Brahma. And unless and until you become Master Brahma, that what is required. Need not require any debate on the 1, 2, and 3, but the most important is that how we can become Master Brahma. See, Dada Likhraj became Brahma by doing Purusharth, not that just Baba said that you have become Brahma. Similarly, we have to become Master Brahma, and unless and until we become Master Brahma, then only will Baba use us. Because we become useful only, and only become Master Brahma. Once I got a chance to ask Dadi Janki, tell me that how we can come close to Baba, what type of people Baba loves him. Dadi Janki said see, and what type of purusharth we have to do. And I insisted, Dadi, please tell in one line that what type of purusharth we have to do. Dadi smiled and told, say, my dear child, do purusharth to be useful. And when you are useful, Baba will use you fully. And when Baba uses you fully, you will not be an ordinary, you will become something extraordinary. So we have to do that purusharth to become useful. And the moment we are useful, Baba will use us. I never dreamed that, okay, I have come to Brahma Kumaris and I have got such a wonderful fate that I will become uh, king or king or whatever it is in the Satyuga. Because most of the time it is in debate that yes, I will become this, I will become that. What I personally feel that I never ever think of that what I will become in Satyuga and all that. I simply enjoy this Brahmin life. I simply enjoy the combination of that Almighty God, of Brahma, and this wonderful family. I really enjoy in that. I never feel that what I will get, what I am having, I enjoy it fully. And that's what I see in this way. Om Shanti.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother, for sharing. Absolutely. I think this Brahmin life is something to be enjoyed. You know, we don't need to be heavy. It's Baba has come to make us so light. All we need to do is become useful, as the brother said, and he'll use us and keep our eyes and keep Maya away, as Baba said in the Murli also. You need to be able to recognize that this is Maya. And that will happen when we are closer to Baba, and it's only Baba who's there in my mind. I belong to Baba and he belongs to me. There's nothing else, no other soul, no other possession, no other thought. Only thought is of Baba and me. Yes, there will be thoughts that will be needed, but only those which are needed. That's all. No overthinking,
I
unnecessary, wasteful thinking is what Baba has mentioned in this moment. Yes, brother.
Mama never ever did any type of debate and discussions and all that. And none of the dadis and big brothers did any debate and manthan and all that. They just followed Baba. See, manthan is required why to understand the depth of the thing and to make us believe that yes, it will be good for me. That's also lack of faith. When we need more manthan, I'm just going in different direction. That means Baba par vishwas kam, nischay kam hai. Mama, what Baba said, did that. Never ever gone in any sort of discussions and debate and all that. So
Yes.
what I feel that this is a time when God has come. We should not waste our time in unnecessary things. Just to follow God, just to follow Srimat. And Baba's Srimat is, my dear child, what I am telling, do it. Om Shanti.
Thank you, brother. Yes,
Shivani,
you're
Ben,
right.
just to
Mhm.
add to what brother said, see, even we are not even worried about this, but because you gave us a chance to churn, that was why I had churned over here. And he used one word which I remember, follow Brahman. That's what even Baba's given in the Murli, the one who follows
Yes,
Father, every thought, every word. If you remember,
correct.
there was this brother from Hyderabad. I don't know how the name is choked, it's in my throat. The one who started the SML. When he came to the Gyan, he followed Brahma totally, totally. He was there only for 6 or 7 years. Then he left his body. I'm not able to get his name. And the one who started the SML, Nagarjuna, where there he started. He followed Brahma totally, but not with the intention of becoming Narayan and all. As far as Brahma Baba was concerned, he was given the vision. Shiv Baba told him, you are going to be the one to be the emperor. So he knew his purpose, his mission, his surrendering. So it was already told to him. But this, as you correctly said, and he was talking about Dadi Janki. Somebody asked Dadi Janki a question. She said, for 24 hours, if you could just think of nothing but just soul consciousness, just Baba and you. Just show me one day for 24 hours if you can do. Then come back and tell me. Then I'll tell you what's your status. So at the end, it's we are now, see, we are not even thinking about that. But it's something nice to know about, my future Satyugi emperors, to know those souls. It gives you, I don't know. I saw man make sukun aata hai when we see such souls. That's the only thing. It's not that
Yeah.
we are
No,
looking
there are
for
many
and all.
times Baba speaks Murlis only on how the golden age would be, right? It also gives
Yeah,
us enthusiasm, right? Baba
exactly.
keeps saying that when you're making effort, you need to be able to entertain yourself also. So rather than going for entertainment
Yeah,
outside, you need to just keep thinking on what Baba keeps saying in the Murlis,
yeah.
and
That's it.
sometimes it's useful. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's useful, but our intent internally should always be to be able to make efforts. What brother is also trying to say is we should not get stuck in it, which I understand
Mhm.
none of us do, right? But
None of us.
but when we talk about these things, there are certain clarities that come, which in its own way it's important. And churning also sometimes is very important. Mama used to do a lot of internal churning she used to do. In fact, Baba has mentioned this in Murlis and many classes also. Dadis have said that after the Murli, Mama used to just go away for a half an hour. Just think about what she heard in the Murli and churn. So that when we churn the knowledge that Baba is giving me, it penetrates into my subconscious. And that is why Baba keeps saying, continue to churn this knowledge. Because the more I churn, the more it stays with me. It's like it's penetrating, like you're doing a massage so on the skin. So the cream penetrates into the pores. That is what is happening when we are doing churning of the Murli, of the Avyakt Murli. It really helps. So I think we are on time, 5:56. We would have loved to churn more, but let's go through the points. There were some very important points on following the father from the birth, from childhood. All those points, I think,
Road
need a
not
little bit
moving.
of
I
depth.
like that.
Yes,
Road not moving.
road not moving. So we wait for situations to get over before we can go back to Baba. And Baba says it will never happen. The road will not move. You have to progress, and you leave the side scenes behind. So it was a beautiful Murli, lot of beautiful jewels in the Murli. So let's read it once again and probably take jewels which are important for me in my current effort that I'm making. Okay. So we'll give 1 minute thanks to Baba, go in silence, and then we'll carry on. Okay. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Shivani Ban. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, have a lovely day.